Right, before we get started today, the health ambassador from Wales is going to tell us all about female wellness.
They teach us in Welsh back and back about, how to apply for a bank account and how to, get a job. But what about things like how to check if, do a breast exam? How do I know if, signs of cervical cancer, screenings, when am I supposed to get those? The things that are going to prolong my life. So why don't we teach these things before we teach, how to get a job?
Yeah, funnily enough, the woman in a burqa isn't very interested in getting a job. Weird that, innit? She reminds me of a spiderer, don't you think? Not because she's garbed entirely in black, but because clearly by looking at her, straight after she slept with her first cousin, she ate the poor bastard. Okay, in the last clip is as Welsh as anyone born and raised in Wales, apparently. That's what Antonia Bance has been saying today. This exchange has gone viral on Twitter. Obviously, I'm going to cover it because it'll be funny. Basically, she looks and sounds like Angela Rayner's granny. And yes, granny, because they start multiplying when they're about 14 in that family. Trust me. Anyway, what she said is definitely preposterous, and she said it with all of the surety of a ridiculous middle-class Karen. So let's have a watch, and then we'll rip her up for arsehole paper afterwards, shall we? Duh! Zooming in, you just realise what a rat bastard she is, don't you? What an absolute howler Antonia is. If the NHS could do face transplants, I would support paying for them in this case. State of that. And she's got a body like a bin liner full of coleslaw. Come on, Antonia. Talk bollocks for me, love.
I think the key thing that we need to understand here is this just shows the weakness of Kemi Badenoch. Rather than sacking Robert Jenrick for defecting to reform, she should have sacked him in the autumn when he came to my neighbouring city of Birmingham and looked around, counted white faces. What an anti-British thing to do. Counting white faces and saying that said something about the integration of that city. She should have sacked him then.
First of all, why have they all got speech impediments? Why have so many lefties got speech impediments? I don't understand it. Daffy Duck, Elmer Fudd, and that rooster that can't pronounce a sentence properly. All three of them would wear a red rosette if they were running for as candidates in the UK. I don't understand what it is with them, but it's just an observation. Maybe it's a protester, Tarquin. Second of all, how is defending British people anti-British? Is everything these people say completely upside down? What do you mean anti-British? They just invent values. How is defending British people born and raised in Britain from 10 generations of Britain? How is slagging them off and defending Somalians and Egyptians and Moroccans? How is that British? What are you talking about? Completely brain dead. You might as well insist that Colonel Sanders is defending chickens. It's the opposite of what you say, you dumb baggy-faced sow.
Because decent people know that Black Britons and Asian Britons are just as British as you and me. And if the decent people in politics, and never forget, the Conservative Party gave us our first Asian Prime Minister. Decent people in politics know that you don't count white faces. So frankly, that lot can go off to reform and be non-decent over there, and decent people in politics, we need to stand up for the values that built this country. Tim.
And then she folds her hands there, like after she talks with her hands, as if and gives a rambling, incoherent waffle, complete with chirpy left-wing speech impediment, and then folds her fat arms at the end of it like she's done a grand job there. But she, look at that. Yeah, up is down and left is right. That was good, wasn't it? No, it wasn't. It wasn't, Tubbs. Also, I mean, I'll just throw 3 or 4 of them up. She said people that are black and brown who are born in Britain are just as British as people who've been there for 20 generations. It's demonstrably stupid. I don't need to refute it any further than just showing you the sentences that came out of her mouth. I don't, because it wouldn't work if you were Chinese, it wouldn't work if you were Indian, it wouldn't work if you were Bangladeshi or Pakistani or Nigerian or any other nation on earth except Western European at this point. It's completely deranged. It doesn't make any sense. But according to her, the following people are just as British as your great-great-great-great-granddad. All right? Child killer Axel Rudu Kanubu. Born in England to Rwandan parents, but he's as English as you and me. Mass killer of women and children, Salman Abedi. Born in England, he's as English as you and me. Doesn't matter if his parents were Libyan. Oh yeah, Libyan fanatics. So his brother was exactly the same as he was. But neither of them have been prosecuted. Very strange. And let's not forget, groundbreaking pioneer Michael Adewale Wewo, born in England, who I think doesn't he technically count as a tech bro, doesn't he? A tech bro. Do you know why? Because he's world famous for being the first ever bloke to live stream a murder in the middle of London. Nice one. And that's why she looks so smug there, look. Job well done, with your big fat hands folded, like you did some marvellous job. You didn't do a marvellous job. You said a bunch of incomprehensible commie gibberish, and then you folded your fat pasty hands to cover all the Battenberg crumbs down the front of your jacket. You horrible fat liar. That's what you did. You embarrassed yourself on national television. Shall we listen to the rebuttal? I don't think it's going to be as good as mine, but let's let him have a go.
Well, Nigel Farage is building a team that is absolutely multiracial. And if I thought that Nigel Farage was in any way racist or Robert Jenrick was racist, I wouldn't be.
So you're all right to say that an Asian person can be English? That if Bukayo Saka helps us win the World Cup this summer, he's as English as you and me. Is that right, Tim? You're happy to say that? I'm glad to say that. Because you share a party with people who won't say that. You share a party with people who believe that a black or an Asian English person is not as English as you and me. That is disgraceful.
It's not disgraceful, it's factually accurate. 9 out of 10 of them wouldn't claim so themselves, would they? Who is this fat blonde woman to talk on behalf of all of the black and brown people in the world? I think that sounds a bit like cultural appropriation to me. Who is she to just talk like this? I'm pretty sure someone like Priti Patel or Suella Braverman wouldn't sit there with a straight face and go, oh, I'm just as British as someone who's been in the UK for 193 generations. Nobody with a fully functioning brain claims that. So it's not just not disgraceful, it's entirely sensible and reasonable and accurate. They don't think that, and they don't say they think that. There's British Indians who go back to India twice a year to miss the family and because they get homesick, and they wouldn't go, oh, I'm just as British as a bloke who's lived in Hartlepool for 8 generations. They wouldn't say it because it's beyond ridiculous, but you would, you silly mare. Also, feel like I should slightly walk back the speech impediment crack, but I think he's recently getting over a severe illness, so we'll cut him a bit of slack.
Outside the bounds.
I've absolutely made clear what my position is, but I think what voters are absolutely fed up with Labour is you play the race card again and again and again. Everyone is racist Everyone is racist according to you all the time.
Some people in this conversation are decent.
If you actually dealt with
the
policy responses, the British people, if you controlled the nation's borders, you would be properly integrating our population together. And it's your failure to do that is causing people to vote for reform. Not my failure.
It's the failure of the guy that has just joined your party, the immigration minister under whom immigration soared. We are getting back control of our borders. We're deporting people who are not allowed to be here. We're doing illegal raids on illegal working and getting back the control that we promised the British people at the election.
So total lies, just unending lies. This thing thinks that if you point your finger a lot and shout loudly, you're right. You're not right. He did a terrible argument, a rebuttal. I'd love to be sat on a couch with that thing. If we were going to turn into a finger-pointing contest, I'd poke her eye out. Everything she said was ridiculous. I don't feel like you need me to rebut it. It was ridiculous. And everything she said was either irrational or lies. A Labour minister sitting there with a straight face and saying, we're getting control of the borders after the last 18 months. How many dinghies have turned up? And then you had her boss, well, one of them, Jonesy, claiming that the majority of the people on the boats were babies. I mean, this is how shameless and brazenly they lie. It's embarrassing. So that wasn't clever. It wasn't meaningful. It wasn't sensible, logical, or rational. It was just a big, fat, gobby, finger-jabbing, commie propagandist being given airtime on the BBC. And Baldy needs to grow a backbone and get her told when she talks to him like he's a knobhead. But that's just what I think. If you think it's totally rational to claim that someone like Kemi Badenoch, whose mother and father were both from Africa, and who quickly jumped on a flight to have her in England as an anchor baby, and then fly her back to Nigeria, where she spent all of her the entirety of her formative years, and then she comes back to England, and these types are going, oh yeah, she's just as English as you are, 23 generations of Englishmen. It's not just preposterous, it's the truth black hole. It is the polar opposite of everything normal people know to be true. So the next time one of these wankers knocks on your door, get them told. Get them told. All right, that's the big story from the day. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you all tomorrow. Toodle pip. Cheers.